Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another of Roxhill's webinars with senior journalists from the world of business and financial services. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined today by James Coney, the editor of the money sections of the Times and the Sunday Times. Anyway, James, thank you very much for joining us this Monday. I'm Michael Davis from Roxhill Media. And for those of you who are new to these webinars, we do try and make them a little bit interactive, however much I give the impression that they're not. But you can ask questions by posting them on the chat room you'll see on the right of your screen. Anyway, James, thank you very much for joining us on a Monday. I guess it's a little bit of the breathing space after the weekend when your Saturday Times sections come out, your Sunday Times money supplements come out, and we've seen them over the weekend, but what's it been like for you producing those during lockdown and under these trying circumstances for everybody working remotely and in unusual circumstances?
Well, there's almost two parts to that, I think, really, because on one side, you've got this great journalistic story that's happening where everything is changing by the week. You know, we had that period in March where it felt like we had a budget almost every single day. And it's a really it's quite scary, but also very challenging, fun in many ways, time to be a journalist. And then on the other side of that, you've got the sheer practical difficulties of producing a 7-day operation newspaper with digital and paper, while working from home, having team members that are worried about things, having a kind of, you know, a team of people from different backgrounds, you know, young reporters living in flats on their own with poor internet connection, to other team members with sprawling families and childcare issues and homeschooling. So you've got the two sides of it, which have made it an enormous challenge. And at the same time, we, at the Times and Sunday Times, were really still just bedding in the fact that we were now a 7-day operation. So it has been, it's been stressful, but it has been fun at the same time.
But you've kept the show on the road. We were reading your content this weekend. So just give us an insight into some of the challenges that lockdown has made you actually putting the section together.
Well, one of the main challenges has been actually the fact that we work on two different production systems, which is a kind of detail that most people don't realise. But the Times production system is a completely separate production system to the Sunday Times production system. They all work on the same computer program, but essentially we have to, because we're not fully merged across two papers, and the news journalists on the Times don't want the news journalists at the Sunday Times to see what they're producing because they're still in competition notionally. They have two locked-in systems. And so one of the challenges for us has been basically trying to operate logging in and out of a system. I mean, it's a bit of a tedious detail for people, but it's one that's kind of a little bit underappreciated. Us, the travel desk, the home and property desks have all had this same issue, which added time into the production process. Also, it's the first time really ever I go in quite a lot, to be honest with you, but and there's only been 1 week where I've fully worked from home. I've always gone in at least one day, even down the peak of lockdown, just because of the time and practicalities of producing two newspapers that both go to bed, two sections that both go to bed at exactly the same time. So they both go to bed at about 5 or 6 o'clock on Friday. So that has been the biggest practical issue, fiddly thing. But then also just all of those interactions and all of those little moments and conversations that you have when you see reporters face to face all the time, and you can just go over and, you know, I can go and sit down next to Kate and say, oh, what are you working on? Or somebody puts down the phone and they say, oh, bloody so-and-so from wherever has just said this.
Yeah.
And then you can have a conversation with it and realize that there's a story. So those interactions not only kind of stifle the journalistic process, but also just hold things up, really.